Well, sure, you've heard that Memorial Day is not just about barbecues and going to the beach, but this next story drives that point home even more. In fact, it is about homes for people who have served our country and don't have anywhere to live. A new place is being built just for them now. It's in the Bronx. James Ford is at Fordham Village with why the need is just so great. James.
This is a story about the real meaning of Memorial Day. With so many Iraq and Afghanistan veterans back here in the U.S. having a hard time, well, there's help. And it comes in the form of this place, Fordham Village. You see it here, very lovely. And this facility costs about 1/10 the cost of a homeless shelter, a much better alternative for veterans. Let's take a look inside and tell you more. This new building has gone up in the Bronx. Fordham Village has 56 furnished studio apartments for low-income veterans and veterans who've been homeless or are substance abusers. The 6-story building opens to Iraq and Afghanistan war veterans a few days from now. It's run by the Jericho Project, a veterans housing organization to help vets get a better start back here in the U.S. after serving abroad. It has job and substance abuse counseling services, in addition to comfortable homes and all sorts of other facilities. Bottom line in all this, the Jericho Project saying that building a facility like this costs just a fraction of what a homeless shelter would, a much, much better alternative. Later in the broadcast, we'll introduce you to someone who will be living here and someone who will be helping the residents out. Reporting from the Fordham section of the Bronx, I'm James Ford, PIX 11 News.
All right, James, thank you.
Thank you, Tamsin. All right, sure, you've heard that Memorial Day is not just about barbecues and going to the beach. Well, this next story drives that point home. In fact, it's about homes for people who have served our country and don't have anywhere to live. A new place is being built just for them in the Bronx. James Ford is in Fordham Village with why the need is so great. James.
Yeah, and the need is so great because there are so many people who have given their all for our country who don't have anywhere to go. Even though we've had 2 ground wars in the last 10 years and we are still actively involved in them, for 17 years there hasn't been any new place built in New York City to house veterans. Well, this is all about to change. This is the place, Fordham Village, and look at it, state-of-the-art, modern, new, lovely. In fact, take a look over here. This is the community room where residents will be able to come together and meet. And there's a very important need for this, certainly. Let's talk more about that with this story. They risked their lives on the battlefields of Afghanistan and Iraq, but as dangerous and difficult as that is, for many combat veterans, it's just as hard after they get back stateside.
And a lot of the veterans who are coming here have been sleeping on couches, friends or family, and really don't have a place to call their own.
She runs the Jericho Project, an organization that pulls together private, federal, state, and local funding to create this, affordable, furnished housing for veterans who otherwise wouldn't have a home. New York City has some 20,000 veterans of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars alone. Many of them are in the Bronx, and some of them have nowhere to call home. That's why this place, called Fordham Village, is so important.
Well, a lot of the signature wounds seem to be post-traumatic stress disorder, as well as some mild traumatic brain injuries. So these are things that I am anticipating and dealing with. Also, there are times where alcohol use.
He's a social worker at Fordham Village and a veteran himself. Not only does Fordham Village have 56 units of housing at a reasonable price, it also has people like Omar Dominich, who can help vets who have substance abuse, mental health, and other problems recover and hopefully find work and the future they deserve. And back here live, this is a framed copy of the plane flown by one of the Tuskegee Airmen, Lieutenant Roscoe Brown Jr. He happens to be one of the directors of the organization that has put all of this together. And as you can see behind me, it has got every facility that anyone would need, a real leg up for veterans. Coming up in the next half hour, you'll meet one of the vets who will be living here, a lovely young lady who gives great insight into the future that a place like this can offer. Reporting live from the Fordham section of the Bronx, I'm James Ford, PIX 11 News.
Thank you, James. Looking forward to that. What a really great story.
Good morning to you. Coming up on 7:30 right now, well, they've risked their lives for this country overseas, but many veterans have an even tougher time once they actually get it back to the States. That's why a new building has gone up in the Bronx now. James Ford is there live with a look at the new facility and with one of its residents. James, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you, Tamsin. You know what? If this looks like, a nice apartment building, well, the reason for that is it is a nice apartment building. The first building in 17 years in New York City dedicated to housing veterans. Let's look at some video and show you a little bit more inside here, and that will give you some idea of just how important this is. Take a look. Yes, 56 units, all furnished, very nicely appointed studios for veterans of recent conflict, Afghanistan, Iraq, and the people who have supported them in uniform. They can come here to this place, Fordham Village. It is in the Fordham section of the Bronx, ready middle of next month to house the various people who can take advantage of its services, of which there are many. Social workers on site, job counseling on site, and state-of-the-art computer lab and other facilities as well, laundry, Wi-Fi, and so forth. Definitely something that our troops deserve. Back here live, this is the community room of this building. Yeah, a place where the vets who are here can come together and they can meet and they can support each other. Joining us right now, Prentice Donaldson, an Army reservist who will be living here, we hope, in about 2 weeks. Am I correct?
Yes, in 2 more weeks.
Okay, talk about how important a facility like this is for you.
Yes, well, the Jericho project is very important. It's being able to give me another chance of hope. And have a stable environment so I can continue along my path of success. The help that we have on site here, the social workers, the career counselors, is excellent help. So this is a great opportunity.
Gotcha. Now, this place also supports people who are mentally challenged, who have substance abuse, things like that. I realize you do not have that, but talk, if you will, for a minute. You know plenty of vets. Just how key is it to have some place like this for people with those kinds of needs? How prevalent is that?
They can receive, like I said, the support with whatever difficulties they may be going through. And also, I'm very humbled and honored to be able to share my story to encourage and help the vets that's going to be living here with whatever difficulties they may be going through.
And your story is you're, as I understand it, in graduate school now, am I correct?
I'm currently going for my master's in psychology at the University of Phoenix.
Great. Good for you. All right. And a vet who is doing well for herself and will be staying here.
Yes, I will be.
Okay. Prentice Donaldson, thank you for joining us. We appreciate that. She mentioned the Jericho Project. That is an organization that brings together private, federal, state, and local funding to create places like this, a place where vets, some of whom are homeless and just need a home, a place that where they can rest their head and have a key and a door that's their own apartment while they try to find a job, a new future. Those sorts of places are hard to come by. Now they're here. The really great news is there will be another facility bigger than this one also opening up in the Bronx in the Kingsbridge section in September. This will open to residents June 15th. Right now, reporting live from the Fordham section of the Bronx, I'm James Ford, PIX 11 News.
Not soon enough. Okay, James, thank you so much.
All right, they've risked their lives for this country overseas, but many veterans have an even tougher time once they get back to the States. That's why a new building has gone up in the Bronx. James Ford is there with a look into this new facility and with one of its residents. What a great story, James.
And yes, a lovely story and a lovely facility. This place is really, really nice. In fact, it is the first place built to house veterans in New York City in 17 years, done by the Jericho Project. And you know what else they point out? That to have a place like this that provides apartments, studio apartments for veterans, the cost is about 10% of what it would cost to build a homeless shelter. It just makes a lot of sense. Let's take a look at some of the places in here to give you a better look at the building and talk more about its history. So it is called the Village in Fordham Village, and it's here in the Bronx with 56 furnished studio apartments for low-income veterans and vets who've been homeless or are substance abusers. The 6-story building opens to Iraq and Afghanistan war veterans just a few days from now. It's run by the Jericho Project, a veterans housing organization, to help vets get a better start back here in the U.S. after serving abroad. And in here on site, there'll be job and substance abuse counseling services in addition to the comfortable homes you see here. And what you're going to see right now is one of the residents will be moving in a few days. We do thank you very much, Prentice Donaldson, for joining us. Look, for someone who has been in the military, is trying to make it in the civilian world, how important is a place like this?
Well, the Fordham Village is very important for veterans that may be battling substance and drug abuses by giving them assistance that they need during their times of struggle.
And now I realize you don't have any mental health or substance abuse issues, but you, being a veteran, certainly know people who do.
Yeah.
What resources are here for them?
Well, we have career counselors that's here. We have social workers. Omar being one of the on-site social worker, they could come to him and talk to him.
And they're right here on site? On
site. We have career counselor, social workers and stuff.
Okay. And we've learned a little bit about you. Yeah. You're now studying for a master's degree. To have, and the place where we are, by the way, is the community room of Fordham Village for people who have had issues, to have contact with other vets like yourself who are getting their act together and moving forward. How important is that? How does that help?
Well, that's very important. A lot of veterans that's coming home from war, they feel like they cannot relate to the civilians. So being able to be around in an environment where you could relate to other people that's been where you've been is an excellent feeling.
And you know what? It's an excellent feeling meeting you. Happy Memorial Day.
Thank you.
We appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Prentice Donaldson, thank you for all you've done for our country and for yourself. Well, that's here, Fordham Village, opening for residents in about a week and a half. And here's more good news, an even bigger facility operated by the Jericho Project, the same organization that brings together private and government funding to create places like this. They've got another building opening up in the Kingsbridge section of the Bronx in the fall. Good news. Reporting live from the Fordham section of the Bronx, I'm James Ford, PIX 11 News.
All right, James, thank you so much.